ओझयामुदीरये नष्टप्रायेष भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8 and Text 2. Soham nunam kshulla sukhaya dukkham mahat gatanam viramaya tasya pravartaye bhagavatam puranam yadaha sakshat bhagavan rishabhya soham nunam kshulla sukhaya dukkham mahadgatanam viramaya tasya pravartaye bhagavatam puranam yadaha sakshat bhagavan rishabhya. Viramaya tasya Gatanam viramaya tasya Saha, that, aham, I, nunam, of the human being, shulla, very little, sukhaya, for happiness, dukkham, distress, mahat, great, gatanam, entered into, viramaya, for mitigation, tasya, his, pravartaye, in beginning, bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Puranam, Vedic supplement, yat, which, aha, said, sakshan, directly, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Rishabhyaha, unto the sages. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavata Purana, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of Godhead, for the benefit of those who are entangled in extreme miseries, for the sake of very little pleasure. Please repeat. Let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavata Purana, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of Godhead, for the benefit of those who are entangled in extreme miseries, for the sake of very little pleasure. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The sage Maitreya proposed to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam because it was especially compiled and traditionally comes down in the disciplic succession for the solution of all the problems of human society. Only one who is fortunate can have the opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees of the Lord. Under the spell of material energy, the living entities are entrapped in the bondage of many difficulties, simply for the sake of a little bit of material happiness. They engage in fruitive activities, not knowing the implications, under the false impression that the body is the self. The living entities foolishly relate to so many false attachments. They think that they can engage with materialistic paraphernalia forever. This gross misconception of life is so strong that a person suffers continually, life after life, under the external energy of the Lord. If one comes in contact with the book Bhagavatam as well as with the devotee Bhagavata, who knows what the Bhagavatam is, then such a fortunate man gets out of the material entanglement. Therefore, Sri Maitreya Muni, out of compassion for the suffering men in the world, proposes to speak on the Srimad Bhagavatam first and last. The Sanstha Bhaktivedanta Purpoto Madhyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Avom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maitreya Muni is explaining to Vidura what is he intending to do. He is explaining that now I am going to explain to you Bhagavatam Puranam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Yadaha, it was spoken by Sakshat Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. And then why is he wanting to speak this? Because Nunam Shulla Sukhaya. For a very little pleasure, people are taking up Dukkham Mahad Dukkha, extreme miseries they are going through just for the sake of little pleasure. So Viramaya Tasya, to give them that mitigation, to give them a solution, a mitigation of these extreme miseries, just for the sake of little pleasure. So there was an article recently about a new disease which is coming up in particularly the youngsters, but it is there everywhere. They are calling this as digital depression. Digital depression means they are spending so much time on the digital channels, so much time on the mobile, laptops, and continuously staring at them for hours together. They are experiencing certain symptoms. Now, what are those symptoms? Just let me read it out to you. First of all, they are losing self-confidence because they post something, maybe their own picture, and then they expect some likes and loves and whatever those symbols are. And then if they don't get it as expected, first thing that they are happening is they are losing their self-confidence. Then Vishada, that means they are very always unhappy because positive response is not coming up, even from the friends. And then they are unable to concentrate. Then their thinking, discrimination is coming down. Then sometimes they feel like committing suicides. and then they're unable to sleep, and they're feeling lonely, and then they feel very weak. This is called digital depression. Now, what are the main reasons? Too much usage of all this technology, social technology, spending more time on smartphones, laptops, tabs, and whatever that names are, and then not spending any time with anybody else, only with the technology, only with the mobile or whatever. And then in social media they are very active, responding, commenting, fighting. Everything is happening on the social media. So this is a new phenomena which is catching up. It is estimated that about 3.5% of Indian population are having this disease as of today. And then they are so attached to it. I have heard some other newses also, pieces of newses. If the father says to the child, you keep the mobile away, then immediately the child becomes very upset. In one or two instances, they committed suicide. Father said, keep the mobile just for some time. Because you are so absorbed in this mobile, just keep it away for some time, immediately. So people are becoming restless. They are fully focused on these mobiles and laptops, thinking that that is the source of pleasure. They approach all these things, social media, friends, relations. They approach all these gadgets for what? To enjoy. They visualize, I am going to enjoy like this, I will send like this message, I will comment like this, I will do like this. But then what is happening is finally, dukkam mahadgathanam. They are undertaking very serious miseries. Dukkam mahad. Mahad means very great miseries. They are extreme miseries. Now you look at these symptoms. What can be the solution? People are all feeling. The other day one superstar, Tamil Nadu superstar, cinema field I am saying. The many stars are there. And then he is saying, I have a lot of fame but I am not happy. Because he is a very frank person. So he openly admitted that I have a lot of fame, name and fame, but then not... So coming back to this digital depression. So people are now recommending what is known as digital detox. You have to detox because you are loading so much of digital into your body, your body-mind system. They are saying you have to detox. You have to reduce this. But if you tell them reduce, they will not be able to reduce. None of those habits they'll be able to just like that reduce. It's not possible. Prabhupada is saying here, Radha Govinda. Prabhupada is saying here, now when they are looking into these gadgets and this and that, why is it that they go through this anxiety? Why anxiety comes? Bhagavatam as an answer, why anxiety comes. Prahlad Maharaj explains, Sada Samadvigna Dhyam, always full of anxieties. You approach this mobile for happiness, but you are ending up in anxiety. You see the contradiction in this material life. You see this contradiction everywhere. You approach for certain thing, you end up in something else. Continuously people are going through this mess. Samudvigna. Anudvigna means a lot of agitation in the heart. Why is that? Asadgruha. They accept this body, they accept themselves as these bodies. Now can you see the root cause of all these miseries is this bodily concept of I am this body. Somehow if I can give as much pleasure to this body, I will be happy. This is the thinking. Because I am this body, how can I maximize the pleasure to this body, happiness to this body? So that makes me happy. So that's why Prabhupada is saying here, under the false impression that the body is the self, the living entities foolishly relate to so many false attachments. Foolishly they relate to mobile, foolishly they relate to all these things, thinking that this attachment will give me pleasure. Each sentence, if you analyze Prabhupada's purports, that's why Prabhupada is saying this Bhagavatam has to be understood in the association of devotees, written by a Mahabhagavata. So, here we can see living entities foolishly relate to many things, and they think that those attachments will give them the happiness that they are expecting. All these people, whoever we are seeing, these digital depressed guys, they are all approaching those gadgets for what? For pleasure only. Are they not getting any pleasure? Here and there they get a little pleasure, apparently. Otherwise, why will they go? Let us say they go to the mobile and mobile gives a slap every time. Who will go to mobile? They'll go to something else to get happiness. But here it is not like that. There's a little pleasure is there. That's why it is called Kshulla Sukhaya. For very little pleasure, what are they doing? Dukkham Mahadgathanam. Extreme miseries they are accepting in their lives. Approaching these mobiles and this, actually a lot of miseries they are hidden inside those gadgets. Lot of misery. In fact, after mobiles came, they came with a lot of regulations. Don't speak through this, right ear, and then keep it at a distance. Don't sleep with the mobile. It is emanating something, and hundreds of miseries it has put on us. But still, that doesn't strike the living entity. Why? He is absorbed in this thinking that this is the invention that is going to change my life. This technology is going to make my life very happy. Now everybody is excited about 5G. Yes, 5G is, till 4G the experience is not so smooth. 3G is very bad. 2G though it's like a tribal, or it's like very bad it is. 5G we are going to be advanced. And it is going to be very smooth, and my experience cannot be interrupted by anybody. But all such experiences are focused on only one thing, that I am this body. Let me maximize the pleasure to the body, so I will be happy. So with this concept, if somebody approaches any of these technologies and gadgets, he will have Samadvigna dhyam, always his consciousness will be full of anxieties. For example, you take practically, let us say you have posted something, your own picture, and you thought it's most beautiful of your pictures. That is a fantastic selfie that you got ever, at least according to you. And then you post. Then you see the anxiety in your mind. You continuously anxiety. How many of my friends will say yes? And if somebody by chance says, this is useless picture, that's all, you are finished. That day we cannot sleep, we cannot eat, so distracted. This is the unfortunate situation. So, Shulla Sukhaya is expecting some little pleasure. Maybe some friend says, "Oh, yes, smartida, very good, you're looking too smart." Very happy. After 10 minutes, somebody will say, "You're looking like a useless fellow." Immediately, life is gone. So, Shulla Sukhaya Dukkam Mahad. Actually, you're accepting so much of this tension, pressure. For what? Simply for somebody saying something. You have kept your happiness in the hands of some people. If those people say yes, you feel happy. If they say no, you are unhappy. What is this life? How can you hand over your pleasure to somebody like that? How can you hand over your self-esteem, your confidence in the hands of some others? Can't you reclaim the self-confidence, your life with yourself? The symptoms that are described and the problems that they are facing, no solutions. People have no solution. What will you tell if you go on Atmastairya, you want to enhance, then they will have courses. For self-confidence building workshop will be there. They will charge you 10 to 12,000 rupees per session. Or then there is one more depression, you are depressed, okay, there is one more course. And this course and that course will contradict each other. That is one more anxiety, which has to be followed. Each philosopher will come with his own idea of how to counteract this mitigation, how to mitigate these extreme miseries. This is the problem. In Kali Yuga, there are so many theories trying to help people. So, Viramaya Tasya, how to mitigate from this dukkam mahadgatanam. So, that's why Maitreya Muni is saying, okay Vidura, you have asked some questions to me. Lot of questions you have asked. But many things probably you have not asked. But whatever it may be, I will give you the solution. For all problems, the solution is only one. Actually, you should contemplate on this statement. Maitreya Muni is saying, Viramaya tasya pravattaye. So, pravattaye bhagavatam puranam yadaha sakshat bhagavan. Krishna has directly given this bhagavatam. And what is this meant for? Viramaya. Maya means captures you in anxieties. Viramaya relieves you from these anxieties. What is that solution? He is saying, Bhagavatam Puranam. We have to contemplate on this statement. Just by reading one Purana, Bhagavata Purana, Maitreya Rishi is assuring Viramaya, relief from all the Mahad Dukkam of this world. What a great relief. If somebody is struggling like that, and then if he comes to know that there is one solution, which is an answer to all these problems, what a great relief it must be. Bhagavata Puranam. That's why Prabhupada is saying here, therefore Sri Maitreya Muni, out of compassion for the suffering men in the world, proposed us to speak on the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is his compassion. He knows exactly how it is going to relieve people from all these great miseries. Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam in the beginning, it explains in the beginning itself that Vastavam Vastu Shivadam Tapatraya Unmulanam. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, we're also using this technology, mobiles, but we are not looking into that for bodies. If you are looking into it for Krishna, that is okay. So, Bhagavatam says in the beginning, why it releases people from this suffering. Tapatraya unmoolanam, it uproots all the miseries because vastavam vastu. It gives you the truth. What is the truth? The truth is that Shulla Sukhaya. The truth is that the happiness that you are chasing after is actually very little. It is not the source for happiness. There is no source of happiness in this world. Even if you feel that there is some pleasure, that is only very little. So here in Padma Purana, it is the Bhagavatam is glorified like this. What is that glorification? It says, Padhau yadiyau pradhamadvitiyau. The first and two cantos, second cantos, first two cantos of Bhagavatam are Sri Krishna's lotus feet. Why Bhagavatam is so glorious? Because the first two cantos is Krishna's lotus feet. Tritiya Turyo Katito Yad Uru. And then the third and fourth cantos are his thighs. Then Nabhistada Panchama Eva Sasto. Then the fifth canto is his navel, Krishna's navel. And then the sixth canto is his chest. You know how Bhagavatam is directly Krishna. So it is explaining Bhujantaram Dor Yugalam Tathanyam. Then the seventh and the eighth cantos are his arms. You know this Bhujantaram. Then Kantastu Rajan Navamo. Ninth canto is throat, Kantha. Then Mukharavindam Dashamah Prafullam. Now the 10th canto is his beautiful, happy, smiling lotus face. Shulla Sukham. Here Prafulla. The same root. Fulla means happiness. So this is the real happiness. The living entities are shown what is the source of the real happiness. That is Mukaravindam Dashamah Prafullam Ekadasho Yasya Lalata Pattam. Then his 11th canto is his forehead. Then Shiropi tu Dvadasha Eva Bhati. Then the 12th canto is his head. Then it is prayed here, Tam Adidevam Karunanidhanam. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, I bow down to him. He is ocean of mercy. Karunanidhanam. Tamala Varnam, whose body is of the color of Tamala tree. Then Suhita Avataram. The Lord appears here, Avatara, he descends here, because Suhita. Hita means welfare, Suhita means the Shreya, that means the real welfare. Everybody gives some solutions, some kind of mitigation plans, but actually they don't work. But Krishna, he gives the Suhita, the real welfare to the living entity. And then how? Apara, Samsara, Samudra Setum. Krishna is the bridge by which one can cross this Apara Samsara, this ocean of miseries. Bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupa. Now here the Padma Purana is glorifying Bhagavata Swarupa. In the form of Bhagavatam, Krishna appears, and it is a bridge by which we can cross this Apara Samsara. Samudra Setu. Setu means is a bridge. And then he says Suhita Avataram, and this is Avatara meant for the welfare of the human society. So, one should take full advantage of this Bhagavata Purana. We are so fortunate. Prabhupada is saying here, one has to be very fortunate to have the opportunity to hear Bhagavata. Extremely fortunate. Every day we are able to hear Bhagavatam, imagine the fortune. So this fortune was given by Srila Prabhupada to us, and he gave the Bhagavatam purports, and each and every canto is nothing but the limb of Sri Krishna. That means every line, every sentence is the body of the Lord. It is part of the body of the Lord. Every sentence is full of bliss and full of knowledge. So when the reader is reading, actually there is he is dipping himself in the ocean of this bliss. We may not realize immediately, but actually every word, every Sanskrit word or every line of Srila Prabhupada purport is communicating the pure knowledge. It is communicating the knowledge that can give you the real bliss. So, why not take advantage? Whenever we get little time, we should read Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said every day, minimum 1 hour, we should read. In some places he says 2 hours we should read. In fact, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, always we should read. So this is a very wonderful way of touching Krishna. And by his Sangatya, by the association of Krishna, the living entities can cross over, Viramaya, they can cross over these extreme miseries. They'll understand these sources of pleasure are actually sources of anxiety. The real source of pleasure is Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna. But some people may not be able to read, they may not be able to study. So that's why Prabhupada has given the Yoga Dharma by which we can touch Krishna. There are so many ways we can touch Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Kirtanadheva Krishnasya Mukta Sangaha. Bhagavatam again says, anybody who does this Krishna Kirtana, he will be freed from all these miseries. Now somebody may say, then if chanting is there, then why I should read Bhagavatam? Why is it required to read Bhagavatam? I will only chant. Actually, we should not get into this kind of an imitation. Currently, our situation is that we need Bhagavatam, we need chanting. Our bhakti should have these two rails. Our train of bhakti can go only on the two lines of train. That is, one line is bhakti, one line is Vedanta. Bhakti, Vedanta. Chanting is the devotional service, that is bhakti. Bhagavatam is Vedanta, is a natural commentary on Vedanta. These two rails are important. Then only your bhakti train will go on nicely. Without Bhagavatam's mercy, not possible to happily chant our rounds. Not possible. So that's why, without any imitations, let us follow the Guru's instruction of daily reading Bhagavatam and then enhancing our chanting as much as possible. Any questions?
Sometimes we use this modern paraphernalia. So that time also sometimes we come across anxiety and all because of excessive use. So in Krishna consciousness, how to avoid all these things?
Actually, as part of our services, we have to use these technologies. Our philosophy is that these technologies, the social channels, digital channels, 4G, 5G or whatever, it's all manifested in this world only by Lord's permission, Lord's wish. So these technologies are available by His wish, by His mercy. And since these technologies are given by Him, He is the proprietor, so they have to be utilized in His service. According to His direction, these technologies have to be utilized. So devotees certainly should utilize these technologies and propagate Krishna consciousness. But then Prabhupada gives the formula how we should utilize these technologies. What is that formula? He says, when you go to a river, or maybe you go to an ocean, and you are trying to take some fish, you are trying to catch a fish out of it, and then you have put that that net or whatever, and then you are sitting there ready to catch the fish. And then if something touches, then you will come to know. Then you will try to. If it is a small fish, you will succeed. You will be able to bring the fish out. But let us say that is a big Timingala comes. You will be pulled inside. It will pull like this, and then if you are holding on to it, it will pull you inside. So similarly, when the technology is an ocean now, this technology of mobile and social media is a huge ocean. And you have put one video, you are trying to catch the fish. So, when you are trying to catch the fish, if that person becomes devotee, that's fine. That's what we want. But then instead of he becoming devotee, you are becoming attached to this, and then you are giving up your services. You are losing your Krishna consciousness. You are becoming more anxious and this and that. That means that is able to catch you. You are a fish for Maya. Maya is able to catch you now. Now, how do I know this? If your heart is agitated, your heart is getting attracted to something non-Krishna, then it is then you may say, no Prabhu, I am fully focused on Krishna's service only. I am not deviated. And my service involves that I have to spend hours together on this. And then you are using for Krishna's service only, then you will not feel any the agitation or anxieties or whatever. You will not. Moment we become distracted, then the problems will come. Maya is catching you. Slowly it is catching. But there is one more angle is there. Because this technology is impacting the health. So we have to be careful to draw some balance. Some bodies are not very, some people's health may not be so strong. And this kind of a continuous exposure to hazardous technologies, will disturb his health physically, and this technology can disturb mentally. Continuously, let us say, in the mind you are, agitated about what results come. Again, Maya is catching you. So one has to see how far he can give time. Simply he is, becoming anxious. That is why you post a Krishna conscious video only. You have posted. Then the anxiety. What is that? How many people will see? How many comments will come? Actually, devotee is not meant for that. Posting is his duty, responsibility. You post. Over. Karmanya eva adhikara. You have done your adhikara. Moment you are becoming anxious means now you are entering into Maya's zone. You are, contemplating what will happen, what is the result. Will it reach 10,000? Will it reach 5,000 views? These views, all these things is a big maya. Number of views have to increase. In order to increase the views, you tweak the philosophy, you compromise the philosophy, or you try to add some masala, this and that. These are all, not required. Present the pure philosophy. This world requires Bhagavatam as given by Srila Prabhupada. The world doesn't require, some kind of a number of views. There are people with millions of views. What are they? Where are they? After some times, what will happen to them? Who cares? This world will not stop. What is important is present our philosophy purely, particularly as given by Srila Prabhupada. Repeat those or explain in your own language the pure conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Only that can mitigate. If one soul gets attracted to that video and then takes up chanting or understands Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, life is successful. Or that video is successful, that jiva becomes liberated. Mukta Sangaha becomes free from these false attachments. So, we should be very careful in all these things. Our thinking should be very proper according to what Srila Prabhupada has given. Let us say if you are becoming very anxious by using technology, that means there's something wrong. Materially, we should not be anxious. Our anxiety should be, okay, I need to produce a certain video before Janmashtami. That's an anxiety. That is a positive Krishna conscious anxiety which is required. Duty anxiety is okay. Result anxiety is bad. Duty. Within the duty you take pressure. I have to complete this duty. Duty. That is good. Service anxiety is good. Result anxiety is not good. Krishna is in his hands. That's it. Results are in Krishna's hand. I have done my duty. Whatever anxiety is required, I have taken up. I have posted it. Because Janmashtami will not wait for us. And for the Janmashtami's sake, whatever services have to happen, that has to happen. And you have to take anxiety for that. And then, despite all these preparations, this and that, here and there, some things may go wrong. We'll just learn. We learn from how to improve. We keep the feedbacks. We keep where and all it went wrong. And next year we'll try to improve. Duty. As a matter of duty. Yes, my Lord, whatever problems are there, we will try to rectify next. That's all. Similarly, video or whatever. We'll post and then over. My job is over. Now it's up to the Lord. It's up to those jivas, their free will. There's so many things are there. It's up to them. Okay, so take service pressure, service anxiety, but don't worry about whether people appreciate or not appreciate. Any other? Srila Prabhupada ki